That feels good. That does feel a lot shorter.
Can you stop playing with your knob?
Okay. I shouldn't do that on YouTube. Hello guys, and welcome back to Car Obsession. Once again, I'm joined by Leo, my Mark II Seat Leon Cupra, and in this video I'm fitting, wait for it, a short shifter. Yes, I've been wanting to do this for quite a long time, and the time is finally here. A massive thank you to Forge Motorsport, who have sent me one of their shifters for me to test and to review. So thank you very much. I've also got quite a lot of goodies, lots of stickers, a mug and a few other bits and bobs. So thank you, Forge Motorsport. So without further ado, let's get this fitted. Right, so for this job, you'll want a pair of pliers to get the clip off the air intake hose, a ratchet, an extension, a 13mm socket. I actually have a standard socket and also a deep socket. You'll want a T20 star bit, flathead screwdriver, and either an adjustable spanner or a 15mm spanner or a 15mm deep socket. Make sure the gear lever is in neutral. Now the shifter itself is actually down here where you can't really see it, so I need to remove this part of the air intake system. Now you can remove the battery if you want even more space, but this isn't necessary. So for the sake of this video, I'm not going to remove it because it just gives me something extra to do. So hopefully I'll have enough space to work with. So first things first, I'm going to take off this clip. Now the last time I did it, I used a pair of vice grips. I think they weren't suitable for the job. So I've popped to my local Halfords and got some of these, some water pump pliers. So these should be much more suited for the job. Let's just take it off, put it on there, and thread it off like so. Nice and easy. Now you've got 2 screws holding this duct in place, so one this side, and of course one on the other side. These are a T20. Now I think in previous videos I said once they were a T15, and a video before that I said they were a T25, so apologies for the mistakes there. I'm not a trained mechanic, and my disclaimer, this is not a how-to video, but if you do learn something, then that is fantastic. Now once it gets to the point where you can undo it by hand, which I think I'm there now, no, not quite, I would advise undoing it by hand. That way you're less likely to lose it in the engine bay. Oh, one of the clips just came off that. That's fine, I think it's gone straight on the floor, so
It sounded like a floor drop.
That's not an issue. So as you can see, you've got the short shifter down there. Well, sorry, that's not the short shifter, of course. That's the OEM shifter. So next thing I'm going to do is there's a clip just down here. I'm going to be removing that. Now there's a few ways of doing it. You can use a pair of pliers or a screwdriver. Well, I've actually seen some people remove it by hand. So I'm going to try to remove it by hand first. And then I think I'll probably need a flathead screwdriver. So let's just pop it off again. You don't want to lose this in the engine bay. Right, no, that is going to need, I'm going to need an extra hand there. Oh, my gloves got caught. Right, so I'm going to use a flathead screwdriver. Now just a quick one. You'll know if the shifter is in neutral because you can move it up and down like that. So if you just pan down a bit, there we go. So that's how you know it's in neutral. Just a quick one there. Right, at this point you probably can't see what I'm doing, guys, so apologies. But the premise is quite simple. I think I've freed it off, so just got to be very careful now. Right, there we go.
Let's just show them.
There is a clip. Now don't lose this because you will be reusing this. So yes, again, make sure you pop it somewhere safe. So before I drop that in the engine bay as well, I'm going to pop that along with the screws I removed earlier. Now, as you can see, I'm pretty sure it's not in neutral. So yeah, you can tell it's not in neutral because it won't bounce up and down. So I'll just do that. There we go, that's in neutral. So what we're going to do now is simply take that off and pop it to one side like so. So let me move my hand out the way so you can see what I've just done. So I've removed it off the cable shaft there. I know it's a bit dark, a bit difficult to see. And now what I'm going to be doing is removing that nut there, which is a 13mm nut. This is why you want an extension, so as you can see, it just gives you more space. Now ideally I'd probably want a longer one than this, but it should be enough for the job. Now you can either use a standard 13mm socket or a deep socket one. Now for the sake of a bit of extra length, we all like a bit of extra length in our lives, so I'm going to use the deep socket one. Now you will see it will want to move about. That's fine, providing you pop it back into neutral afterwards. So again, you probably can't see what I'm doing too much. It's always difficult trying to film these kind of videos.
I'm doing my best.
Now this can be difficult, the shifter itself can be difficult to get off. Some people would advise you to undo it, so undo the nut, sorry, then tighten it up by about 4 to 5 turns, get a hammer and tap on it. Now, Forge Motorsport, in their instructions, they say not to do this. I'm not going to do that. Now, the idea of tapping it with a hammer, it just helps to free it off a little bit, thus removing the shifter will be easier. Now, I'm not going to do that. Now, again, you don't want to lose this nut in the engine bay because you will be reusing it. So I'm pretty sure I'm at a point where I can undo it by hand. Yes, I am. So just got to be very careful fishing this out. Now I've seen some people use pliers, but I'm going to go old school. I've got a good grip of it. There we go. And there is the nut. So yes, we will be reusing this as well. So again, make sure you pop it somewhere safe. I'm going to pop it along with everything else. Now this is not in neutral, so let me get it back into neutral. Okay. Bouncy bouncy, there we go. So yes, so some videos this has come out, some videos I've watched, this has come out quite easily, others it's been a bit of a pig. So the best way to do it, how Forge Motorsport do it, is to kind of rock it from side to side. Well, thanks for that.
I'm more concerned about you smacking me in the face with your head.
So yeah, it does need a bit of jiggling and a bit of, so you kind of need to rock it and pull it up at the same time. Now it's off, I can remove it, and there we go. That is the old unit, which is actually quite grubby. Now if you're able to zoom in here
into the silver bolt bit,
yep, you'll see there's there's a tooth missing. It's meant to be like that because basically this goes into the shaft, if that's the right terminology. It only goes on one way.
I've got that, yeah.
So yes, as you can see, on the left-hand side, you do have a tooth missing, which is meant to be like that. So to look at, they look very, very similar. I'd say that looks slightly smaller. Now, where the magic happens is here. So you have 3 pins that come with the kit. They're within this bag. So as well as the shifter itself, you have some grease, which you apply to the inside because this is going to be sliding onto another component, so you don't want that to be dry.
It's like lip balm.
You can put it on your lips if you want.
I don't think that's advisable.
As well as that, you have a nut. Oh, make sure that bag doesn't fly away. You have a nut which goes on the end of one of these pins or shafts, and as you can see, you have a choice of 3 that come with the kit. So you need to match it up to the one that is fitted to your OEM shifter. So the idea of the short shifter, this is adjustable. So you have your shaft pin, whatever you want to call it, in there. So the less distance between that and that component there, that will give you a shorter shift. Conversely, if you knock it all the way towards the end, that will give you a longer shift. Now, the whole idea of this kit is to make the shift shorter, so why anyone would want to put the pin, the shaft there, I don't know. Now, some people say not to put it to the maximum of the shortness, if that makes sense, because it can give you a bit of a notchy change. Some people say to go all the way and then bring it back a little bit, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm pretty sure this is the right one, but I can of course change it later. So I now want my nut.
I just need to stand up.
Yeah, that's fine. I can stand up as well.
Oh God. Oh, I didn't topple over.
You would have noticed there's this bent nail. Have you got that in focus?
Yes.
Yeah, I will explain what this is for later. Now you'll probably see quite a few videos don't even mention this, let alone use it. I am going to do this because I do want to try and do this properly. So I will explain what this is later and why you need it. So I'll pop that aside for the time being. I'm just going to put the nut onto the back of the shaft, right, like so. Right, so as you can see, you can slide it across to adjust how short or long you want your shift to be. Like I said, I'm not going to dial it up to the maximum of shortness. I'm going to just pin it back a bit and pop it there. So using a 15mm socket or a wrench. Now I do have a deep socket, so I can use my ratchet. Is that my 15? There's my 15. I don't think that socket's quite deep enough. Bummer. Right, I'm going to have to use my adjustable spanner then, or wrench if you're watching this in the States. Yeah, there we go. That's as snug as possible. So you now have that connected to the shifter. It's nice and tight, so as you can see, I can't slide it along now. Right, so I need to grease the inside of that. You don't want to put it in dry because that will be moving as you're changing gear. So we'll put a fresh pair of gloves on. So back in a moment. Right, so let's just take a bit of this. Now it does say to use a thin layer, so I'm not going to go too mad with this. So obviously you're going to want to put some inside and of course on the grooves themselves. Make sure it's spread as evenly as possible. And I've got a bit of excess there on the left hand side, which I'll probably get off. There we go. Yeah, jobs are good. And it's now time to put the new shifter into the car. Now you want to make sure it's all lined up. Let's get that shift cable out of the way. Again, it needed just a bit of jiggling. Basically, the best way of doing it is the right part of the shifter. You have to kind of that's okay. You kind of have to get it lined up with the side to side shifter, and so down there. So you kind of have to get this bit lined up first before you can pop it back onto the shaft. Now, before I start doing anything, I just want to make sure that I do have the right pin on. Oh, that looks good.
Oh.
That looks good. So I've got the right pin, shaft, whatever you want to call it on. Right, so I'm going to put the 13mm nuts back on that. Now, some say there is a torque setting of 25 Newton meters. Unfortunately, the torque wrench I have doesn't go as low as 25 Newton meters. I think that goes down to 42 Newton meters. So I'm just going to make sure this is snug. So this won't be torqued if I'm going to be dead honest. That should be enough. Right, I need my ratchet. Right, now as you can see, when you start to tighten it, it will want to change gear. I think it's gone into third. That's absolutely fine because you can put it back afterwards. Right, so just make sure it's snug. You don't want to over tighten it. So I'm happy with that. Right, now pop it back into neutral. Again, you know it's in neutral because you'll be able to spring it up and down. Time to reattach this shifter cable, and I need to reuse the clip from earlier. There we go, back on.
And that is
easy peasy lemon squeezy.
That clip just there.
Yes, we need to go inside the car because we need to adjust that shifter cable. Now you'll see on quite a lot of videos that this doesn't get done. I'm doing it because I think it's really best practice. Now, if you join me in the car.
Oh, hello.
So.
Right.
Oh.
It sounds a lot more mechanical. Listen to that clunk.
Oh, that feels good. That does feel a lot shorter.
Can you stop playing with your knob?
Okay. I shouldn't do that on YouTube. Now, what you need to do now, actually I need to get that bent now.
Oh, see you later.
You need to get the shift boot off the gear lever up. Now, following Forge Motorsport's instructions, they say to do this, pop the gear lever down, sorry, pop it into third, pop it down, and then you should just be able to, easier said than done, lift up the front.
Come on, muscles.
Someone needs to hit the gym. Oh no, I can't, they're closed. In the end, I had to figure it out for myself, and I started by removing the silver plastic surround, which I did using a flathead screwdriver. Be careful when doing this though, as the trim is fragile, and I inadvertently broke mine during the removal. After that, I wrestled with the shift boot for what felt like an eternity, and some choice words may have been said. As you can see, I've got the shift boot off. Now, apologies for not showing you how it's done, but it got to a point I got quite worked up, and this has taken a lot more time than anticipated. But basically, to give you a summary, I'm not going to clip it back into place because...
Oh, no, please don't.
But basically, you've got two clips on the front, as you can see there. Are they in focus?
Yes.
Sweet. So they slot either side here. So what you want to do is, I'm not going to clip it back into place, but you want to try and get those clips out first. So what you want to do is, once you've got the silver bit off, work the shift boot towards you to get these two clips out. Now, annoyingly, the left side was very stiff, so that's what took a lot of time. The right one came out fine. Once you've done that, just gently, well, give it a gentle tug, and it should all unclip out of place. So as you can see there, you've got two holes. So the idea is to use this nail to align them. So if I'm just going to swap the camera to my right hand, so pop it in the first hole like so. And then make sure you've got it aligned so the nail actually goes in. So what you're doing is you're realigning everything. So as you can see, sorry, let's get that out of the way. That's now going through both holes. And what you're going to want to do is, so as you can see, you've got a spring here. So I'm going to, by using my fingers, I'm going to pull it up like so. Oh, sorry, I kind of need two hands for this bit. So I'm going to pull it up, and I'm going to twist it. Twist the, hang on, sorry, I can't see what I'm doing. Right, so I'm going to twist it. Oh, so it keeps springing back. So yeah, by twisting it, you kind of open up, there's three kind of plastic fingers. So you do that. And then what you want to do, so you've kind of detached it from the shifter cable, and then just reattach it. That should now be aligned. Right, I'm going to put the front clips in first and let the rest follow. Let's put this back on, which is a little bit damaged. What we need to do now is to pop the air intake back on, and then we're done, finally. Right, so I've retrieved that clip that came off earlier when I took the air duct off. Just slips back nicely like so. But having said it doesn't quite line up. There we go. Make sure I can get into reverse. Yep. Oh, that feels so much better. Now the gear trains before wasn't bad. It felt okay, it felt solid enough, but the throw was definitely too long in my opinion. Now with the Forge Motorsport shifter, no such concerns. So a massive thank you to Forge Motorsport for sending out their product for me to fit. I'm happy with the results. I will do a separate video where I'm driving and giving my impressions of how the shift feels when actually driving. But yes, I do hope you have enjoyed this video. I do hope you've learned something from it. Well, I was going to say you probably learned some new swear words, but they weren't caught on camera, thankfully. But if you have enjoyed it, then please like, comment and subscribe. If you are subscribed, don't forget to click the bell icon so you get notified every time I make a video. I will pop the link for the short shifter in my video description, so if you want to buy it for yourself, you know where you can get it. But until the next time, guys, be sure to keep up the car obsession.